Just have to take a quick minute to thank our sponsors, Yellow Dog Paddle, Mackin's Rippin Lips Fishing Trips, Xpeditions Fly Fishing, NJFishing.com, 8-Ball Sport Fishing, and our supporters, Mike K's Guide Service, Psycho Jigs, Lip Glue, FC Fish Company, Nor'easter Hard. Eddie Mackin's Rippin Lips Fishing Trips. The fishing continues to be phenomenal on Lake Pacon. Eddie continues to pound on the walleye, and the hybrid striped bass have now shown up in the mix. Red eye trips are still available. If you have no one to fish with, Eddie will pair you with someone he has ready to fish with you. So call Mackin's Rippin Lips Fishing Trips today. Yellow Dog Paddle is continuing to fish Round Valley Reservoir right now. May is one of the best months of the year to fish that reservoir, especially for big trout. Also offering lessons if you have your own boat and want to learn how to do the trolling spread. Mike will show you that. Also a frequent flyer pass. If you want to go a few times a year with them, you can go at a discounted rate. Great for retired people. So check out Yellow Dog Paddle today. Hello and welcome to episode number 103 of the NJ Multi Species Podcast. I am your host, Joe Santiago. As always, my partner, Chris Pereira.
What's going on?
He's very tired and cranky today, folks. I'm sorry. I apologize in advance for him.
Am I? I feel like I'm always the same.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, always the same, miserable. Yeah. Pretty interesting week in fishing. Tonight we have a guest coming on from the fish tagging. We're trying to Google what that word means right now because we have no idea. But yeah, it's fish tagging, so that should be somewhat interesting. Chris obviously just seems like he's not going to speak at all in this episode. But an interesting...
well, you told me to look up what that word meant, and then you just started the episode while I was trying to find it for you.
What does it mean?
I don't know. I found their website, the American Littoral Society, Coastal Conservation.
There you go.
We welcome you.
That's the guest, and her name is Emily, and she's from that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'll be honest. I purposely don't look up stuff from the guests before we go because I want the conversation to be as natural as possible. So
yeah, there's no script.
We got a lot of questions for because I don't know what they do. It's some kind of fish tagging organization amongst other things. So we'll find out. There's
no script here. That's why it's so horrible. So interesting week in fishing. We went out with Chuck on a search for monsters the first time. We ended up not real. I mean, we took a skunk out there, but Chris caught 2 starfish, 2 stripers inshore, and 2 black.
I jigged 2 blackfish while Chuck was drifting eels for stripers,
and a fluke.
Which, I mean, let's be honest, jigging 2 blackfish on a sea bass jig while Chuck's fishing for stripers is harder
while drifting
catching a striper with Chuck.
And it was on the day our blackfish trip was canceled.
Yeah.
Which makes it even more ridiculous, which sucks. But yeah, our fishmonger trip ended up getting canceled. So we went for stripers.
It did get nasty out there. We only had a little small window in the morning to try, and
it didn't pan out. But now you guys went back out yesterday without me, and it did pan out. They showed up finally.
They were there. It took a little bit for us to find them. Actually, he wasn't really marking anything, and he was. I mean, this was his 3rd trip, I think, right? His 3rd trip going out there.
3rd, yeah,
or maybe yeah.
No, so, 2nd.
I think one of the trips he just couldn't get out because of the weather. But basically, he was like on a ledge, I mean, when he got out there to like looking through his spots and he didn't see the marks, I mean, he was just like rubbing his face, just like he was out of sorts. And I was pretty tired because the kid didn't sleep at night, kept waking us up, and we didn't see anything for a while. And I was sitting there, and I almost had to take a nap like you. I mean, you would have been asleep, guaranteed.
Oh yeah.
And I was getting close. Chuck will tell you.
I'm asleep no matter what. Doesn't matter really what's happening.
Yeah. So I mean, no, but he we're sitting there almost ready to fall asleep, and boom, one of the rods goes off, and you know, it's not like we didn't light the world on fire, and there was not too much of a pattern. The fish seemed to be up higher, but other than that, you know, we just grinded it out, and
they're finally here.
Yeah, I think we got 5 big ones.
Chuck's misery's over for now. He's in this happy place for a while.
Yeah.
Other than that, I went trout fishing with my kids. I posted a bunch of pictures of that. I took them to the Friends of the Pascack Brook, it's called. It's a huge trout contest for kids on the Pascack Brook. I saw Alan Castellano there, the guy we call Bushman. I saw him. I saw Diana Fraza. I saw some people that I knew. There was tons of like kids. They stocked so many fish into this river. It was just awesome. Then they had a huge award ceremony, and it was like based off the size of the fish and each individual age. And what ended up happening was my daughter got a trophy like fairly quickly, because I got my daughter like I think she got a pretty decent fish, like. But my son didn't. He got like a state stocked fish, and I was like, "This fish ain't getting in. No way." Then near the end, he got one that was like 12 something. So whatever. She got a trophy fairly early, and then like the trophies were dwindling down. Like there wasn't that many left, and I could see my son like rubbing his eyes. He's like laying in the grass and shit.
Oh,
like every time and I'm looking at my wife saying, what the hell are we going to do, man, if he didn't get in? I'm saying, Jesus. I think like with 3 trophies left, they called his name, and he went nuts, and it was awesome. So he got like a big trophy for the 6-year-olds, and she got one for 9-year-olds. It was awesome. Just a great event. Like next year, I think I'll donate money to it.
Don't you think... I feel like you need to teach your son how to lose too, though. Can't win every time.
I mean, he was there, man. He was like laying in the grass with his head in the grass. Like he knew his sister was leaving with this, because they're big trophies. If we could pop a picture up, we will. These trophies are like bigger than anything I ever won. And she's holding it, and the little brother's like he's just in misery there. But yeah, he got one, and it just ended up being awesome.
I mean, dude, I have trophies for like wrestling and soccer and stuff. Like they're gone. Like I threw them in the garbage. I have like fishing stuff back here, like from the Skillful Angler Awards. Like it just it just means more to me.
Yeah, pretty much that's how it is. But yeah, it was a cool event. And then I actually pillaged I tried to fish that creek for the couple days after the contest to try to get a brook trout, because I know they stock a ton of brook trout, which the state doesn't anymore. I ended up getting a nice 12 1/4 inch brook trout, and I entered it in Mayhem contest, but the identifier was left out of the picture, so that fish was disqualified. So I went back again Sunday to try again, and I got skunked. And I'm like, this is just unbelievable. I was so mad at Kevin, saying I went through all the shit to catch this fish, and he DQ'd it. So finally I went back again today with Jen Wan. There was barely any water there. Like they must have closed the dam down. It was empty. And bunch of guys spin fishing, not catching shit, and I had my fly rod, and I ended up catching 2 brook trout. One of them was the exact same size as the one that got disqualified. I got a picture of it with the identifier, and it's now entered and it's in. So
I saw some mud on the thing. I couldn't read the numbers. I don't know if he's going to end up disqualifying that one.
He might. I mean, if you look, I also had a walleye Chuck had like 18 fish. Just so people know, Chuck Manny's currently in first place with points. He also had about 18 fish disqualified because he entered like 8 species on the first day with no identifier in any pictures. But I entered a walleye from Lake Apacon, just a regular, normal. It was a 22-inch fish picture like I would always take. And all of a sudden it comes back, oh, we can't read the numbers on the bump board. And I go back, look at the picture, and you can't. They're all blurry. And then I look at Max. Max entered 2 fish from the same bump board, and his numbers are perfectly legible. So some kind of when you're using the app and you take the picture, it kind of says use or not, and you click it and that's it. It's gone. You have to be careful because you have to look at it, make sure the numbers are legible, and make sure the identifier's in the picture. Because I've messed both up now, and I've had 2 fish disqualified.
It's a pain in the ass. It's much harder than actual fishing.
It's a pain in the ass. And I've noticed the species, depending on what species it is, makes it harder. Like a catfish is fairly easy to put on a bump board, get a picture of it. Like a trout's a pain in the ass. It's all over the place. It's not good for the fish.
No, it's a lot easier with the second person with a third. You need a third hand to do it, but.
Well, I did. The final picture I got with the brookie was with my wife holding the fish down. Like, you need one person holding the fish down, somebody else make sure the ruler's clear, and you need 8 people to take the photo. But unfortunately, in the world of 2025, it's what we have to do because people will cheat to win something that's doesn't even cost money. We've seen it before, where a person cheated to try to win a free certificate. So cheaters are out there, and this is the shit we have to deal with to get rid of them. So, it is. It's a pain in the ass.
And there's really no other way to do a contest like this in fresh water. I mean, there's not enough waste. I know the Fisherman Magazine does the Dreamboat Challenge, which is kind of a similar type of saltwater contest with a bunch of different species and a point system. But I think you have to weigh those fish in. Right, but there's a lot of places to weigh saltwater fish in. Pretty much anywhere you're going to come back in on a boat or where you're fishing, there's a shop nearby. And I mean, that's in its own sense a pain in the ass too, especially if you catch fish at night or whatever, and you have to weigh it in and nothing's open. So I guess both have their pros and cons, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's really the only way to do something like this. So hopefully people have fun with it and just enjoy the friendly.
I'm having fun.
Ball busting.
I'm having fun with it. And my wife was watching me measure the fish and enter it. And then I was telling the kids, we got to go get a sunfish. And she was like, oh, I would enter this. I'll fish for my wife doesn't even fish that much, but she's like, oh, it looks fun. It is fun. Like I said, it's going to make people. I thought it would come out real slow. You wouldn't see that many entries that quick. And then all of a sudden that contest opened the first day. The entries were flying in, flying. The Kennedys started firing in bass and snakeheads from South Jersey. Like I said, Chuck Manny fired in 8 species. Katie Stokowski.
What is there? 100? There's 100. Kevin said there was over 100.
Over 100
submitted already.
Yeah, over 100 submissions. There's all 3 trout are already on the board. I don't think there's a laker yet. There's not a catfish yet. I've seen rock bass are up there. Sunfish are up there. A lot of species aren't even up there yet, though. Even channel cat, which is surprising. I know Chuck put a carp in.
Yeah, and a lot of the fish are, they're on the smaller side. I'm sure they probably won't last, but you never know. I mean...
Well, I think Kevin's going to keep whatever. He might keep the top 7 there or the top 10, of each species. So even if that fish does get knocked down to number 8, you'll still be able to see your catch there for the entire tournament.
and any as we're trying to help Kevin too, even though he's the main guy here. We may be able to get some, prizes and stuff, and Kevin might, divvy out those prizes based on, the standings at the end of the month or throughout the thing, or maybe a raffle or wheel spin or something. Like, you never know. Like, submit fish. We don't know how he's going to give out the prizes or what's going to happen. So, but I think we could complain about Kevin all night. I
want to beat the shit out of Kevin for disqualifying my fish.
Well, you realize that, like, when this first started and Chuck was putting in all those fish, I was like, he's not saltwater fishing today. He just, wanted to go fishing and he's having fun with it. Like, he doesn't really care if he wins or not. But
I don't believe that.
It was true.
I don't believe
doing it for fun. Joe, they're all small fish mostly. He was just fishing. He was just having fun. I talked to him about it. But when Kevin disqualified like 8 of his fish for various reasons, like I think that his first like 8 fish, he didn't put that code, the MM25 in the picture because he thought it was automatic. So Kevin had to disqualify like all these fish. Then he pissed him. Then he lit a fire under his ass. Now he does actually want to win, and I think he's going to skip some striper days to go do freshwater shit to try to win this.
See, that's what I was going to say, Chuck. I could see it in his eyes that he's just out for blood now, and he is on. He wants to win it.
He is, but it wasn't like that from the beginning. That's Kevin's fault. Kevin lit a fire under his ass and basically made a monster.
The worst person to light a fire under his ass, Chuck.
Yep.
McKinney.
Oh, yeah.
Last thing we touch on is last week we did go out on Lake Apac on 2 separate boats. Chris,
how long are you going to make the guest wait?
Is the guest waiting?
You didn't see the alert?
No, I don't know how this new thing works.
She's been sitting in the room for 10 minutes. All
right, well, we fished Lake Apac on at night. We caught a bunch of fish. If you want to check the pictures out, they're on our social media because Chris doesn't want to talk about it. We're going to bring in our guest, Xpeditions Fly Fishing, now catering to all your fly fishing needs in the Catskills, specializing in drift boat trips on the West Branch of the Delaware River. Beautiful scenery in the Catskills. He does also cater to the Willowemac and Beaverkill in waders, but the drift boat and fly trips on the West Branch are his specialty. Really nice pictures being posted right now. Xpeditions Fly Fishing. Check out Joey X. Okay, so our guest is ready to come in. This is a little bit of a tongue twister. We have Emily. She is the program director of the fish tagging program in the American Littoral Society. All right?
Yeah.
He's gotten the last 2 introductions right. I mean, he screwed up 98 before the last 2, but he got the last 2 right. I'm baffled.
Emily, welcome to the NJ Multi Species podcast.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Thank you for taking the time to talk to us. We'll get right into it. What do you guys do right off the bat? Because it's the American Littoral Society. We were like trying to Google what that word meant before you came on.
I got to be honest. Like, I purposely didn't look into it too much just so that the conversation's as natural as possible. Like, I actually don't know much of what you guys do other than what Ryan mentioned to me, the fish tagging. But even that, I don't know any of the details of. So, yeah, I don't think a lot of anglers. I think a lot of anglers are the same boat as me. They may not have even ever heard of you. And you said you guys have been around. The organization's been around since what was it?
Since 1965. So we are celebrating our 60th year anniversary.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So if
you guys are volunteers.
No, so we have a full-time staff of about 15 people. But we are a membership-based organization, so we have lots of citizen scientist volunteers.
Awesome.
Yeah. So if you want to know a little bit about us overall, so the American Littoral Society is a nonprofit coastal conservation organization. We are headquartered on Sandy Hook in New Jersey. but we have a couple of other offices, one in Millville in South Jersey, and then one in Jamaica Bay in Queens. So we essentially focus on coastal conservation for the New Jersey and New York coastlines. We focus on restoration, education, and advocacy. And then, of course, we have our fish tagging program, which I think is the best program, but I might be a little biased. So we have been around, the program itself, the fish tagging program has been around since 1965, like I said. And this year will be the 60th year anniversary. We also will be tagging our 1 millionth fish this year. But essentially what we do is we allow our members to buy tags from us. We have a couple of different types of tags that they can buy. They can go out and fish like they normally would, and anything that they either can't keep due to rules and regulations or don't want to keep because it's bycatch, they can tag and take down information, typically species, location, length, and weight, and then send that back to me in the mail. And then I will enter that information into our database, and it will be all sent to different scientific organizations at the end of the year. And then obviously it's a tag and release program. So hopefully someone else will actually recapture that fish, take down similar information, where they caught it, how big it grew, and send that back to me. And then through our database, I'm able to see how the fish changed over a time period. And then, of course, when we have lots and lots of data, we can see how populations overall are changing over time periods.
So how would someone that catches one of these fish know to contact you? Like, does it say it on there?
Yes. So our tags actually say Littoral Society, and it says essentially contact with my phone number, my office phone number, and then it also has my the website on it. And so essentially it has everything you would need.
Now, is there...
just out of curiosity, you said you're going to be celebrating tagging your 1 millionth fish. Do you have like a percentage number on like what percentage of those actually came back caught?
Yes. So I just did the math a couple weeks ago, and I think right now it's at a 5.7%. And I know that sounds like a low number, but in terms of the actual programs, it's a pretty good number because you do have to think about all the things that happen in between that time period. And that includes people not seeing the tag, not taking the time to write down the information, not caring enough about it and back, as well as predation, migrating out of the area and not coming back. So there's a lot of different tag falling off, which doesn't really happen, but it could technically happen. But overall, that's a pretty normal number for tagging programs. It's about 5 to 5.5% recapture rate.
So so this is strictly just, you see the tag and you got right. There's no like tracking system. Like the tag doesn't have any kind of GPS or satellite.
No. So we are just using either loop tags or streamer tags. And this is mostly because we're at 1 million, so it would be super, super expensive to have 1 million of those really fancy tags. But we do have an app that allows anglers to write down the information in the app rather than, actually have to write it down. It also notifies the tagger much sooner. So that's pretty nice. And we tag along the entire East Coast, so Maine to Florida, including Canada and the Gulf Coast of Florida. We essentially allow our taggers to tag any types of saltwater fish except for sharks.
And you don't do any freshwater?
No, we don't do freshwater. We used to do freshwater. We actually started out as a fish counting program. And we slowly migrated. We migrated into sharks, and then we migrated into saltwater.
But you don't do sharks at all anymore?
No. The tags that we use are not the correct type of tag to use on a shark, just due to the skin.
All right.
Have you ever had something really crazy, like you were just like, what the hell? Like something somewhere really weird?
We've had a couple very interesting ones. So we say when a tag comes is out in the water and then comes back. We say it's been out for a certain amount of time. So our longest out striper was almost 12 years. So it was about 1990 to 2002 is when it came back. Our longest out fish overall, which was a sand shark, was tagged in the Delaware Bay and was recaptured almost 20 years later to the day, down all the way down in Florida on the Gulf Coast.
That's
wow.
Yeah. And then we've also actually had a recaptured fish caught by President George W. Bush back in the 90s, I believe. So that was pretty cool. We have an official letter from the White House with the information. So
that's awesome.
That is really
cool.
Now, how is this funded? Who's funding it?
So we started out as a program where we essentially wanted the anglers to fund it themselves. So it originally was actually created by a bunch of scientists over at the NOAA offices, which are across the field from where we are currently. And they decided that they kind of wanted to fund their own types of programs. So they started a nonprofit, and they wanted the taggers to pay for the tags and then essentially fund the program by paying for the tags. Obviously, as time goes on, things get more expensive. So we are funding it through membership and tag sales, but we also have been working with different organizations, the park system that Sandy Hook is part of, and Fish and Wildlife, the DEP. We get a lot of, we try to get funding through that. We also get funding through just like large donations. And majority of it at this point is membership, though.
So so anglers can join as members, which obviously costs them something, and that funds the program, and that comes with tags and things like that.
Yes. Yes. So anglers can go on our website, become a member for $60 a year, and they will get a couple tag kits for free to begin with, and they can use those up, and then they can choose later whether that type of tag is the one that they like. Like I said, we have 3 different types. It also is kind of dependent on what you mostly fish for. So it would be a little bit different type of tag if you mostly fish for fluke or if you mostly fish for striped bass. But then after that, they can buy the kits. They're very cheap. They're only $8 per kit. And that's 10 tags and 10 cards with it. And then the different needles are different prices. But overall, it's not too expensive. And then our dart tags, which are our newest type of tag, they are streamer tag. They're a little bit more expensive, being $15 each. But we are, again, working on getting funding to decrease all of these prices.
And what kind of anglers are they that are buying them? Like, is this something like a angler like I would buy?
Yeah, so it's essentially anyone. I kind of like describing it as someone who wants to step up their fishing game, essentially. It's I definitely like fishing, but at some point I want to do a little more than just the fishing. And so tagging is a really fun way to increase what you're doing, as well as know that you are helping with science, helping with the next generation of different species of fish. And because it does all go to different scientific organizations to help understand what's happening.
That was like a really weird, like, first of all, she doesn't know what kind of angler you are, Jeff. So I don't know what, like an angler like me? Like, what is that? Like,
no, like
an angler that doesn't
like,
catch that many fish?
Is it just, I was asking, is it just normal fishermen like me that are buying these tags, or is it like scientists that are buying them? Like,
it's everyone. It is, we have lots of people who are, marine fisheries doctors who teach at universities. We have people who work at like Fish and Wildlife in different states. We have just people who love fishing and want to conserve the fisheries.
And I'm guessing, do they get the info back? Like, if I tag a fish and you get the info, do I get it too?
Yes.
That's pretty
So
cool.
I send out a letter as well as a certificate to the tagger with their original information and the new information.
That's pretty cool.
Can I want to just play devil's advocate, and I'm truthfully saying that this is not my opinion, but I know enough anglers who've been like in the angling community long enough, and I know what some anglers are going to say when they hear about this. Okay. So and I know you have a good answer for it. So I'm just going to play devil's advocate here. I know some anglers are going to say, oh, I'm going to pay to tag these fish, and they're going to use that information to cut our season, to cut what we can keep, blah, blah, blah. So I know you had to have heard that argument before, so I'm sure you have a good answer for it.
Yes. It's definitely one way to look at it. But I think that a lot of our anglers are more hoping for a better future rather than worrying about how it's affecting them now. I hear a lot of people who are in their 60s and 70s saying that they like tagging because they're hoping that it will help for the future for their grandkids when they go fishing. And I think a lot of our taggers are the types of people who are very into stewardship. They want to know that they're helping. It allows people to actually have a hands-on experience, knowing that they're trying to make a difference at least.
Yeah, I think it's a small amount of anglers that get kind of greedy, and it's you couple a little bit of greed with, I guess, like a mistrust of organizations that they may not understand or know about. And like I said, I never had heard of you guys before, so I can't believe I haven't. And maybe it's just me, but
I haven't either. But it sounds it sounds cool.
Yeah, right. But if someone doesn't look into it, right, they see this. I mean, Joe, you know what I'm talking about, and Emily, like you said, like guys have probably said this to you, anglers out there, when you maybe approach them, and it's not true. One, and two, you can't just. I mean, a lot of guys out here just think they could go around and just keep whatever they catch, and I'm not someone who ever wants to dial back on the regulations unless it's absolutely necessary. Or not dial back. I mean, make more regulations unless it's absolutely necessary. But I mean, sometimes it is necessary, and the info like this that you get from the tagging has got to be so important into knowing whether that has to happen or not.
Yeah, I think some of the most interesting things that I've seen in the data recently is an actual migration of fish. There are fish that are moving more northward because of the waters where they typically would be caught are just getting too warm for them. So we can see.
Are winter flounder one of those?
I actually haven't looked specifically at winter flounder. We've been talking about. I've been seeing fluke moving a lot. Summer flounder very specifically. I'm sure that winter flounder are probably affected as well. But I can see this the fluke moving more northwardly, kind of up New Jersey and then along the southern part of Long Island. And that's a big one. But there's a lot of other species that you can see moving. We work with a lot of high schools in the area, actually in a lot of states, Connecticut and New York as well. And I give portions of the data to different high schools so that they can teach kids how to manipulate data, but also can create their own projects. And a lot of the time we find some really interesting things from these high schoolers just doing their own kind of research.
Are you seeing anything that's like kind of alarming or disturbing?
I wouldn't say alarming. I personally just think it's interesting. I think it definitely is something where we can see that it's happening. Another thing that we can see with our data frequently is that stripers will come back to very similar locations year after year. We'll have someone tag a striper in the Delaware Bay, maybe up by like Trenton or something, around, mid-April, and that fish will come back the next year to essentially the same location at around the same time. And we can see that with hundreds of thousands of stripers. So it's not just one striper, it's hundreds of thousands.
Do commercial fishermen ever report these tags back in?
Yeah, I have a lot of commercial fishermen who know us and will frequently send me in tags. And then I also have a lot of people who are like, I've never heard of you before. This is super cool.
Well, I hope a lot more people will watch this and learn a little bit of something, go to your website and find out and see if it's something that they want to participate in.
I was going to ask that. Emily, before we ruin your whole night, if someone watching this wants to get involved, what's the easiest place to go and look?
So our website is littoralsociety.org. It's LITTORAL Society. So just to let you guys know, the littoral zone of the beach is what we're named after. And so it's the area between the low and the high tide. That's the littoral zone. And then there's also something called littoral drift, which essentially is the movement of sand and sediment, mud, anything in a direction because of the way that the tides are moving. So, for example, Sandy Hook. I don't know how well you guys know Sandy Hook.
Oh, that's like our home.
Yeah. So, you know then that the lighthouse is kind of in the middle of Sandy Hook, which is like not a great place for a lighthouse. But actually, when it was made, it was at the tip of Sandy Hook, and over the 250 years that it's been here, the island has slowly been increasing northward. So that's why there's about 1.5 miles between Sandy Hook's lighthouse and the tip of Sandy Hook.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yes.
Holy shit. Emily, I want to thank you so much for coming on here and talking to us. It really has been cool, and we've learned a lot. Do you fish?
Yes, I do. I actually was just fishing right before I got on this podcast. I didn't catch anything, though.
Oh, did you go for fluke?
Yeah, I was trying. I got a bunch of donated rods, and I was trying to see how well they work for my different events that we have. I lead a junior angler surf fishing clinic, so it's actually part of the park system junior ranger programs that they have. But we get a good amount of donations in supplies, and so I was just trying to make sure they work before I actually let kids use them.
You were using it as an excuse to go fishing.
Yeah, a little bit.
Emily, thank you so much, and hopefully we get to fish with you and see more of this fish tagging program.
Yeah, where do you announce the like the events you do? Just on the website?
So we do have our website. There is an events page on that, but we also have a Facebook page and an Instagram, and then the fish tagging page specifically has a Facebook page as well. So I think it's it's a very long name, but it's American Littoral Society Fish Tagging Program on Facebook.
We'll find it.
Yeah, and whoever does your social media stuff, I don't know if it's you or someone else or Ryan or whoever, you tell them they could post, they could post it on our stuff too. We'll share it and whatever.
Awesome. Thank you.
I mean, because like I said, it's crazy that, and maybe it's just me and Joe, but like it's crazy to me that we've never really heard of the organization.
She just blew my mind that word means the land between the high tide and low tide. I'm still trying to figure that out.
You know what? When she said it, something in my brain kind of like I remember learning that in like middle school science class or something. Like it sounded familiar to me, but before she said it, I had no idea what the word meant.
Okay, Emily, thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Take care, Emily.
Okay, bye.
8-ball sport fishing out of Point Pleasant. Extreme flexibility at an affordable price. This guy, Captain Dom, he offers trips even after work fishing. Does shark fishing trips. Loves to do striper trips with the mini rod. Does sea bass. Basically does everything. We're going to be doing a lot of work with him. So 8-ball sport fishing. You can basically call them for all your 6-pack charter needs immediately. All right, so Emily, that was pretty interesting. And, now I kind of understand it, that people are paying a membership and they tag fish and then hope they get back information, or at least they're able to say they're a part of this and they're actually a part of the research. I understand it all much better, and it's actually really cool. I don't have a saltwater boat, but I guess if I did, it's something I would probably look at.
Yeah, like I know I know Chuck does some fish tagging through gray fish tags, which I'm sure is a similar process, I'm guessing. I do believe the gray fish tag might have the satellite types of tags, though.
Yeah.
Because I know Chuck told me, and I wanted to ask Emily this, but I guess they wouldn't know because there's don't have satellite or GPS or tracking or whatever. But we've asked Chuck before, how many of the fish that you tag die because you had them out, because you got them out of the water for an extended period of time, longer than it takes to take a picture. And you hear guys talking all the time. Oh, you took 2 pictures of that fish. It's dead. You had it out of the water for 40 seconds. It's dead. And Chuck told us it takes usually a couple of minutes to tag the stripers. And he literally told us, and they would know because they're tracking them, 0 of those fish don't swim away and continue on with their life. They don't die from that process, which I just had to bring it up because it's just more proof that these fish are not as fragile as some guys will have you believe.
Well, when she said she was almost up to her 1 million tag and the return percentage was like 5 point something percent, I was like, holy shit, that's really low. But she said that's like the standard. So, but really interesting stuff. And I'm sure the numbers that she gets to look at are amazing. And like just hearing about that sand shark that's 20 years old caught in Florida, that shit is just so cool. Could just send me down a wormhole. But really cool shit. Next week's guest is, I believe, it's a person that became a member of Heroes on the Water and now fishes with them. Is that correct?
Okay. You didn't want to ask me who?
No, who is it? Well, I don't know his name.
His name is Jim Davis, and he's a veteran that first went to a Heroes on the Water event, like just as a veteran, going to the event that they do, one of the events that they do, and he's now part of the volunteer process. Like he is part of Heroes on the Water. I don't recall his exact position there, but we'll talk about it. And I'm just excited to hear like the story behind how he went, like his experience going there as a veteran versus just because we had Heroes on the Water on already, obviously.
Yeah, we'll hear organization from the other perspective now. All right, and also the 100th episode will be coming out soon. We're still not telling you who the guest is, though, but we are going to release it soon when we feel like it.
And you still don't think it's weird that the 100th episode is like the 106th episode?
Nah, because we're on vacation Memorial Day weekend, and we're not doing an episode, so that's probably when it'll come out.
You've justified it in your head that you can just call any episode you want the 100th episode because it's special to you?
Well, the thing that's cool about this podcast, it's not like social media. No one can answer me. Like I could just say whatever I want, and no one answers. So, like if it was Facebook, I'd hear 10,000 comments. But here, I could just say things, and no one can say anything except you.
Oh yeah, and I usually do.
Yeah, you always do. But for this week, I'm done. That's it, and we will be back next week with Heroes on the Water.
And can I close the episode with a clue to the 100th episode?
You can.
All right. Suffer for the underwater footage.
That's a good one. That's a good clue. Okay. Perfect.